Hey y'all, this is Eric Shadow Ops RC, you guys. Just a quick video here. A few days ago we took this motor apart. I've tried filming inspection more than once and just didn't have the camera angle right, so I'm going to do it with my phone because you guys can see things better. It's important once you have the motor apart to inspect everything. We knew we were going to replace a cooling head. You should see somewhere there's a few minor scratches in the cylinder here. I know what that's from. We'll go over that in a minute. You should see little signs of wear, but nothing major wrong, okay? But as we look at this right here, you see how on the tip of the wrist pin right there is got like a plastic nylon guard on it? That's how when the piston's moving up and down, the wrist pin moves in and out. It doesn't scratch the cylinder because it can't come out on this side. What I found out is why I have a few scratches is that guard had fallen off on the old wrist pin. But what saved me is I kept the parts to my old motor, which was the VX16. This is VX18, because it has the same rod length and the same wrist pin. Just the piston itself is a little bit bigger, and its wrist pin from that VX16 was perfectly good. So that's one thing I'd recommend with anything RC is, unless something's completely destroyed, like the crank was to that other motor, and it's just not worth rebuilding, it's cheaper to buy me one whole complete VX18 than it is to rebuild the VX16, which is why I have a VX18. So just inspect. You should see some signs of wear, okay? When I put the piston in the cylinder, and since I have to do this one-handed, I can't really do it. And you try pushing it up, you should be able to push it up, but it shouldn't be easy. And this motor has almost no runtime on it, so that tells you have good compression, because these ignite the fuel off of compression. So squeezing it till it explodes. So if you look down at the bottom of the groove on top of the bearing, you'll see a little hole. That's where the oil goes in when it runs. And then this part right here, that looks like it has a cutout of it on the piston. That's so when the piston goes down, it doesn't collide with the crank. So here's the motor. If we were installing this piston and rod, it would go in the motor like this. So that way it will oil correctly and not collide with the crank, okay? Excuse me. So there's just breakdown inspection. Look how free your crank is spinning. That means the bearings are in good shape. Okay, that's what we want. I'm not saying anything spooky here. Had I not had that rod, I would have had wrist pin. I would have had to buy a new rod and wrist pin, which would have been $30-40. So maybe cheaper depending on where you buy it. But so there's just a quick inspection. Had there been something majorly wrong with the engine, I would have got a more detail, but everything's fine. You should see some wear on the sides of the piston, because where it's a car, it uses the sides of the piston against the cylinder for pressure, unlike a car that has rings, okay? So you should see some wear on the sides of the piston from it moving up and down. That's fine, as long as you don't see major deep scratches. That would mean you got some dirt or something in your gas and scored it, and usually you'll lose power because there's not as much compression. So here's our new clutch to go with it, okay? New clutch flywheel. So big shout out to everybody that's been following me on Instagram and YouTube. Got a new prop in for the Kingfisher, waiting on a couple other parts, but hopefully we'll be able to do a few videos soon on that. Get her up and running again. Thanks again for sharing this hobby with me. This is Eric with Shadow Ops RC out.